Images and videos of burnt cars, blacked and charred bodies, and incinerated homes in southern Israel were plastered on every phone screen and television after the October 7th Hamas attacks. The images and videos were used by the Israeli government to justify the military's heavy-handed tactics in their ongoing war against Hamas. But were they actually the result of the Hamas attack? Well, surely Israeli civilians were brutally killed by Hamas on October 7th. But there's mounting evidence that we think any responsible journalist needs to examine. Let's take a look at something called the Hannibal Directive. I'm investigative journalist Ben Swan, and this is Reckoning Israel and Gaza. So far in this investigative series, we have discussed how Israel had received concrete and credible intelligence from foreign intelligence agencies, their own military, and even Israeli citizens about where and when the October 7th Hamas attacks would take place. The military rammed through the approval of the Nova Music Festival at the last minute, despite pushback from people within the army, and even threatened legal action against soldiers who tried warning and preparing for the Hamas attack. And when the attack began, what did the military do? Well, nothing. Evidence we've uncovered points to there being some type of military stand down at the beginning of the attack. But we need to take a look at another crucial aspect of that day. When the IDF began to finally use their firepower and military to engage Hamas in southern Israel, did they exclusively target enemy militants? Well, evidence actually points to no. To understand what the Israeli military did to their own civilians on October 7th, you have to understand the political aspirations of Hamas and what the goal of taking hostages is. Political leverage. There are over 10,000 Palestinians in Israeli jails, 3,000 of whom have not been to trial or charged with a crime. When militant groups manage to capture Israeli civilians or soldiers, it gives them leverage to force a prisoner swap and to get some of their people out of Israeli prison. For example, in 1986, Hamas managed to kidnap 3 Israeli soldiers and bring them into Gaza. They demanded 1,150 Palestinian prisoners in return for those 3 soldiers. Well, after this, the military drafted a secret field order to prevent future kidnappings. It was called the Hannibal Directive. The directive gets its name from the Carthaginian general who chose to poison himself rather than allow himself to be captured alive by the Romans. Back in 2003, again, strangely enough, October 7th, 2003, 3 Israeli soldiers were taken hostage and brought into Lebanon. Following the activation of the Hannibal Directive, IDF attack helicopters fired indiscriminately on 26 vehicles, thus ensuring the death of their own soldiers and therefore robbing Lebanese militants of the ability to demand Israel make concessions. The last known application of the Hannibal Directive was 2014 in Rafah. Hamas fighters managed